Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. The world is full of noise, voices, doubt, fear, negativity wearing 1,000 different masks. You wake up and before your feet hit the ground, the world has already tried to speak something over your life. It speaks limits. It speaks fear. It tells you you can't. It whispers, who do you think you are? It reminds you of your past and mocks your future. But what the world says about you doesn't define you. What you say to you does. Every great life ever lived began with a decision, the decision to speak life, even when life looked like death, even when the road ahead looked dark and the walls were closing in and the money was low and the faith was thinner than the air in a mountain storm. They still spoke. They spoke hope. They spoke destiny. They spoke God's promises over their bones, dry as they were. You want to change your life? Then change your language. Because life and death are in the power of the tongue, and too many people are burying their futures with the words they speak today. You got to speak like the storm is already over. You got to speak like the door's already open. You got to speak like the chains are already broken. Speak like healing is on the way. Speak like the job is already yours. Speak like the love you prayed for is already walking towards you. Speak life not because it's easy, but because it's war, and your voice is a weapon. See, what you don't realize is that every time you say, I'm tired, your body listens. Every time you say, I'll never be enough, your spirit listens. You are casting spells with your own mouth, either curses or blessings. You're not just talking, you're building. You're not just reacting, you're creating. Your words are bricks, and your life is the house you're building with them. People always say, I'm just being real. But let me tell you something. Being real is no excuse for being reckless with your tongue. If being real means constantly calling yourself broke, tired, unlucky, or alone, then congratulations, you're just being real about staying stuck. But if you dare to speak life, if you dare to say, I'm healing, even when you're bleeding, if you dare to say, I'm growing, even when you're breaking, if you dare to say it's coming, even when you see nothing coming, now you're speaking with vision. And vision always outruns the fact. You can't keep talking failure and expect to win. You can't keep repeating the pain and expect peace. You can't curse your soil and expect a harvest. Life responds to faith. The future listens when you speak. What you declare today builds the staircase you'll climb tomorrow. Let me ask you something. What's the conversation like in your head? If your mind was a room, would it feel like a war zone or a sanctuary? Would your future feel safe walking in there? Because too many of you are speaking in ways that betray your calling. You speak fear fluently, but faith like a foreign language. You speak other people's doubt, but you can't even pronounce your own greatness. That has to change. Today, you've been handed a microphone by life. It's invisible, but it's real. And every single day, you're announcing something. You're either saying, I'm walking into purpose, or I'm a prisoner of my past. You're either saying, I'm favored, or I'm forgotten. And the more you say it, the more your mind believes it. And the more your mind believes it, the more your behavior follows. Speak like you already believe the breakthrough is coming, because your faith will move things your feet never could. Listen to me. When God created the world, he didn't lift a finger. He spoke, let there be light, and light obeyed. That same breath, that same divine voice, that same creative power, he put it in you. And what do most people do with it? They say things like, I'm just unlucky, or nothing good ever lasts, or people like me don't win. And then they wonder why their life reflects it. Universe doesn't argue with you. It just agrees. Your future doesn't debate. It just echoes. So if you keep telling yourself you'll never be enough, your future just quietly begins building a version of life that proves you right. Not because you weren't worthy, but because you wouldn't speak like you were. Now listen, I'm not telling you to lie. I'm telling you to prophesy. There's a difference. I'm not asking you to ignore your pain. I'm asking you to rise above it, to declare something high. The storm is real, but so is the calm after it. The valley is deep, but so is the promise on the other side. You don't speak life because it's easy. You speak life because it's necessary. You speak life because you've made a decision that your future won't be a carbon copy of your past. Every time you say, I'm getting better, you are giving your brain a reason to heal. Every time you say, I'm attracting the right people, you are preparing your heart for love. Every time you say, I'm not finished, you're telling fear it has no final word over you. That's not how, that's power. That's alignment. That's your destiny finally hearing your voice. Some of y'all need to go to war with your vocabulary. Start deleting phrases that kill your joy. Stop saying I'm always alone. Start saying I'm making space for the right people. Stop saying I'm tired of starting over. Start saying every reset is a new revelation. You can't afford to be casual with your words. Not now, not this season, not when your next level is listening. Every I am is planting something. Are you planting weeds or are you building thorns or a throne? I am tired. I am broken. I am a failure. That's not humility. That's spiritual vandalism. You are vandalizing your own future every time you agree with the enemy's script for your life. But if you say, I am chosen, I am learning, I am prepared for more, then heaven leans in, then your angels get instructions, then your mindset shifts, then your actions align. And when your mouth, mind, and mission are in agreement, that's when favor shows up. You got to become fluent in the language of elevation. Speak like someone who knows their name is written in bold letters on a divine assignment. Speak like someone who's been through hell but still smells like purpose. Speak like your scars are seeds, like your losses were lessons, like every betrayal was a divine redirection. Speak like you've been anointed for the next level, because you have. But understand this, it will feel strange at first. Speaking life in a room full of negativity is like singing in a graveyard. It takes courage. People will roll their eyes. Some will mock you. They'll call it delusion. But they don't understand you're not speaking for them. You're speaking for you. You're rewriting the script. You're interrupting the curse. You're building a future that can carry your dreams without collapsing. You can't afford silence anymore. Silence is surrender. Silence is agreement. And the enemy loves a quiet warrior, but heaven responds to sound. Make a sound, even if it's soft, even if it shakes, even if it sounds crazy. Speak until the atmosphere shifts. Speak until your inner critic shuts up. Speak until your future starts clapping. Let your voice become your victory. And don't just speak life over your career. Speak it over your family, over your children, over your relationships. Speak it over your bank account, your health, your habits, your house. Speak it until your whole life rises to meet the level of your word. And when it does, don't be surprised because you called it in. You said healing was coming and it came. You said love would find you and it did. You said your mind would clear and it happened. You said the right doors would open and they did. You said peace would overflow and you felt it. You didn't get lucky. You got loud. You didn't stumble into favor. You spoke it. So today, right now, I dare you to lift your voice like it's a compass. Point it toward the future you're hungry for. Speak not what you see, but what you believe, what you're becoming, what's coming. And don't just whisper it. Declare it, own it, shout it if you have to. Because when your voice rises, your reality listens. And when your reality listens, your life begins to transform. Your future is waiting on your command. So command it. Speak life. And while you're out here building with words, understand something deep. Life doesn't just respond to what you say. It responds to how you say it. Tone is power. Intention is fuel. That's why you don't just say things casually. You say them like you mean them. You speak with authority, with certainty, with that unshakable inner grit that makes hell nervous and heaven stand still. Because the real difference between people who rise and people who rust isn't talent, it's language. Some folks are walking around with genius inside them, but they've talked themselves out of their greatness for so long, they don't even recognize it anymore. While others with less skill but more belief speak like kings in waiting, and doors swing open where walls once stood. The voice you project becomes the identity you protect. If you speak as a victim, your life will keep giving you reasons to stay one. But if you speak like a survivor, like a warrior, like a builder of empires, then every setback becomes a setup for elevation. Think like someone who's already passed the test even while you're still sitting in the classroom. Speak like someone who knows storms only last until the sky remembers the sun. And you know what else? Speak in private with just as much boldness as you do in public. What you whisper to yourself matters more than what you shout to the world. It's in those quiet, lonely, nobody's watching moments that your true mindset is revealed. That's when you've got to declare things that sound too big for your current situation. Because if you can't say it to yourself when no one's clapping, don't expect the world to believe it when you're on the stage. Your daily confessions are more powerful than your most viral post. And let's be honest, some of you have never heard a kind word from the world. Not from your parents, not from your teachers, not from your past relationships. So you've adopted a vocabulary of rejection. You speak what was spoken over you, not what was planted inside you. And that's why nothing's growing. You're repeating the curses instead of activating the calling. But hear this, you don't have to keep echoing their brokenness. You can become the first voice in your bloodline to speak life. You can be the voice that says it stops with me. The voice that says our story doesn't end here. The voice that speaks generational healing into a family that's only known silence, bitterness, or survival. You're not just speaking for yourself, you're speaking for everyone who didn't know how. And I know it's hard. It's hard to speak joy when depression is knocking. It's hard to declare favor when your bank account is empty. It's hard to say I'm worthy when abandonment is still echoing in your chest. But that's exactly when your words matter the most. When the facts scream one thing and your faith chooses to scream back. That's when you stop describing your life and start defining it. Because the people who change their future don't wait for proof. They speak like it's already paid for. They speak as if the ink is dry on the blessing, as if the keys are already in hand. That's not pretending, that's preparation. It's alignment. It's the tongue telling the feet where to go before the road appears. So build your world brick by brick, line by line. I am strong. Lay the foundation. I am worthy. Set the beams. I am rising. Raise the walls. I am walking into overflow. Place the roof until every sentence you speak becomes shelter for the vision you're birthing. And here's the hard truth. Nobody else is responsible for speaking that life over you. Stop waiting for applause. Stop waiting for someone to see your worth and tell you you've been handed the mic. And if you keep giving it to people who don't even know how to pronounce your purpose, don't be surprised when your future goes silent. Stop outsourcing your affirmation. If you don't cheer for you, who will? If you don't water your own garden, how will it bloom? If you don't declare victory, why would the battle bend in your favor? You've got the power. You always did. The only question is, will you use it? Every day you wake up, you've been given breath, not to just survive, but to declare, to create, to shape what's coming. Your words are seeds, but the harvest is only as rich as the intention behind them. So stop scattering doubt. Start planting vision. Speak like someone who expects the best, not because life has always given it, but because you've decided you deserve it anyway. And don't wait till everything is perfect to speak perfectly. Speak life mid-process. Speak healing while you're still limping. Speak abundance while you're learning how to budget. Speak love while you're still learning how to receive it. Life doesn't wait for you to get it all together. It waits for you to open your mouth and move the atmosphere. Because let me tell you what happens when you do. When you really, truly, unapologetically speak life, doors swing open, not just outside you, but inside you. Old fears lose their voice. New strength rises in places you thought were dead. Divine connections start showing up. Clarity comes. Peace returns. Ideas flow. Miracles aren't just hoped for. They start becoming normal. That's the power of aligned speech. You don't just chase transformation, you become it. So say it now. Speak it loud. Declare it real. Not someday, but today. Because the future doesn't respond to silence. It answers only to those brave enough to speak it into existence. And you're the storm that speaks calm. You're the fire that calls in light. You're the voice the darkness fears. Because when you speak, life answers. And while you speak life, understand this. Words are not passive. They are not just noise. They are decisions. They are blueprints. Every sentence is a signal to your soul about who you are becoming. Every declaration is an instruction to the atmosphere. So stop wasting your breath on complaints that don't build you. Stop throwing away power in the form of sarcasm and self-pity. You are too chosen to talk like a casualty. You weren't made for mediocrity, so stop narrating. Let your words honor the weight of your calling. Speak like your name has legacy tied to it, like your dreams carry nations, like the room you're in right now is only a hallway to something greater. You have to stop treating your own voice like background noise. Elevate, stand in front of the mirror and speak like your reflection holds a crown. Speak like destiny is waiting for your permission, because it is. And this isn't about some feel-good slogan. This isn't a vision board fantasy. This is the muscle of transformation. This is the surgery of self-worth. It's the intentional, unshakable, no matter what decision to become your own loudest advocate. When the world goes quiet, you've got to champion yourself so boldly that even your insecurities begin to doubt themselves. And the beauty of it is this: you don't need a stage, you don't need a mic, you don't need a perfect past or a polished Instagram feed. All you need is your breath and your belief and the decision to stop rehearsing the worst case scenario. That's what most people are doing, rehearsing defeat like it's a speech they've memorized. What if I fail? What if they leave? What if I never get there? That's not preparation. That's a prophecy you're not meant to fulfill. Shift the script. Start rehearsing miracles. Start practicing the sound of a room full of peace. Imagine the sound of your name being called in spaces you thought you'd never enter. Speak in the direction of that sound. Prepare your tongue to match your future, not your fears. And while you're at it, stop borrowing language from people who've never stood where you're going. Stop quoting people who gave up on themselves. Stop repeating phrases that come from wounded sources. Not everyone who raised you knew how to speak life. Not every culture you came from spoke with vision. Not every environment you survived was built on truth. So why are you using their language to design your tomorrow? You've been upgraded, so your vocabulary must evolve too. You cannot use the language of survival to build a life of abundance. It won't work. You cannot reach a healed place using broken words. The journey demands new speech, new tones, new declarations. You need to start saying things that feel too big for your current surroundings, because your environment is temporary, but your destiny is permanent. Let your words rise above your zip code. Let them echo beyond your credentials. Let them reach into your children's future and shape what's coming next. That's what visionaries do. They don't just speak about where they are. They speak to where they're going. They don't narrate the pain. They direct the healing. They don't just describe the darkness. They declare the light. And even if no one claps, they keep talking. Even if no one gets it, they keep building, because they understand the principle. If you speak it long enough, you'll walk into it. But hear me, you must stay consistent. You can't speak life on Monday and death on Tuesday. You can't declare greatness in the morning and doubt yourself by dinner. Your words must become your rhythm, a daily melody of belief, of faith, of forward movement. Speak until it becomes your second language. Speak until your own mind stops flinching at the sound of hope. Speak until your fears go silent. And when life throws disappointment in your face, when the job falls through, when the deal breaks, when the relationship ends, don't retreat into silence. That's when you speak louder, not with noise, but with certainty. Say, this is not my end. This is not how my story closes. Say, everything that leaves is making room for what's meant to stay. Say, I still win, even when it doesn't look like it, especially when it doesn't look like it. Because that's the difference between those who crumble and those who conquer. It's not luck, it's language. Some people are born into privilege. Others are born into pain. But no matter where you started, you've got the same tool in your chest, your voice. And if you use it right, it will unlock doors. bloodlines before you never dared to knock on. That's not ego, that's awakening. And once you've tasted the power of speaking life, you'll never go back. You'll get addicted to the sound of your own transformation. You'll stop craving validation because the validation is already vibrating in your voice. You'll stop chasing people who can't see your worth because you've already spoken it over yourself 1,000 times. And every time you open your mouth, heaven takes notes. Every sentence becomes scaffolding for the future you're climbing toward. And yes, some days it will be hard. There will be mornings when speaking life feels like lifting a mountain. Do it anyway. There will be nights when your voice trembles. Use it anyway. The tongue is a sword, not because it wounds, but because it cuts through everything trying to bury you. Use it to fight for your peace, for your purpose, for your name. Because let's be honest, the world is loud with death, with doubt, with distraction, with destruction. It doesn't need another echo. It needs a rebel, someone who dares to speak differently, someone who dares to break the cycle with truth, with hope, with light. Let that someone be you. So many people live as if they're stuck in neutral, waiting for permission to accelerate, waiting for the economy to shift, waiting for someone to believe in them, waiting for perfect timing. But the truth is, your breakthrough doesn't start with a paycheck or an applause. It starts with your own mouth. If you want motion, speak momentum. If you want direction, speak clarity. If you want fire, speak fuel. Your next chapter is not written by circumstance. It's written by conviction. You've got to become so committed to your own evolution that you can't help but speak in the direction of your growth. Even when nothing around you is changing yet, even when the mirror still shows the old version, even when the noise of doubt is deafening, keep speaking, keep sculpting, keep declaring what's unseen, because the unseen is listening. And it's not far away, it's right on the edge, waiting for a signal from your voice to begin forming. Don't underestimate your ability to reframe your reality. That's what words do. They don't just describe the world, they bend it, they stretch it, they reroute it. And the most powerful people on earth aren't always the ones with the most money or fame. They're the ones who know how to direct their own inner narrative, who understand that mindset isn't just thoughts, it's language under pressure. When you speak life, you aren't avoiding truth, you're enforcing it. You're saying, despite what I see, I know who I am. Despite what I've lost, I know what's left inside me. You are rising in the face of what tried to ruin you. You are aligning your spirit to higher ground, not because it's easy, but because it's essential. If you speak victory long enough, the battlefield begins to shift. And if you speak identity with authority, doubt gets quieter, fear loses its grip, confusion starts clearing, like fog under morning sunlight. Not because the problems disappeared, but because you refused to be shaped by them. You chose instead to be shaped by your own voice, sharpened by truth, refined by fire, soaked in promise. Don't wait for the wound to close before you start talking healing. Speak while it's still raw. Speak while you're still shaking. Speak while your knees are knocking, because courage doesn't sound perfect. It just sounds like you didn't stay silent. And don't just speak upward, speak outward. Speak into your space, your home, your car, your desk, your day. They all hold energy. Don't let your environment talk louder than you do. Declare peace into every corner. Prophesy focus over your tasks. Claim rest in your sleep. Speak laughter into your kitchen. Speak favor over your phone calls. Life isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you command with your words. And while you're at it, speak to people the way you wish someone had spoken to you. Be the kind of presence that shifts the atmosphere just by how you speak over others. Because when you speak life, you don't just bless yourself. You become a walking invitation for others to rise too. Your language becomes a mirror for their potential. Your encouragement becomes a launch pad, and your boldness becomes contagious. People remember how you made them feel, yes, but even more, they remember the words that gave them permission to dream again. This world doesn't need more critics. It doesn't need more commentary. It needs architects of language. It needs people who build hope, with their sentences, who construct resilience with their declarations, who lay foundations with their convictions. That's the work you're doing every day you decide to open your mouth with purpose. And don't worry if your words don't change things overnight. Seeds don't sprout the moment they hit soil, but speak anyway. Speak daily. Speak consistently. Over time, your language begins to do what roots do underground. It stabilizes, it anchors, it strengthens what the eye can't see until suddenly, one day, everything above the surface starts reflecting the faith you've been sowing for months. That's not magic, that's mastery. Because the people who build beautiful lives are not the ones who speak once. They're the ones who never stop speaking, no matter how long it takes. They don't wait till they feel powerful to talk powerfully. They talk powerfully until they feel it. And if you ever feel like giving up, remember this: you've already survived things you never thought you would. You've already walked through fire and came out breathing. So why stop now? Why start narrating failure when you've already proven you're a fighter? This life may not be easy. It may test you, bruise you, stretch you, but your voice was not built for silence. It was built for resurrection, for revolution, for rising. And when you finally stop apologizing for how loud your light is, the dark has no choice but to retreat. So speak on. Speak when they doubt you. Speak when they celebrate you. Speak when they leave you. Speak when they crown you. Speak when you're tired. Speak when you're thriving. Speak when your heart is full and when it's barely holding together. Speak with tears in your throat and thunder in your chest. Because one thing is certain: if you speak life, you will live it. Not because it's easy, but because you decide it is. There is a rhythm to your future, a frequency, a vibration. And the more you speak, the more you begin to hear it clearly. Not with your ears, but with your spirit. Because every time you choose to speak what aligns with your purpose instead of your panic, that rhythm gets loud, that signal sharpens, that destiny accelerates. And no, it won't feel normal at first, because normal is what got you stuck. Normal is what trained you to stay quiet, to shrink, to settle. Normal told you to only speak when it's safe. But growth was never supposed to be safe. Transformation is a disruption, and your voice is the thunder that announces the change. There's a version of you that already exists in another dimension, a version that already healed, that already won, that already broke and every time you speak from a place of truth, you pull that version closer. You collapse the space between now and next. You reach through the fog and grab hold of the future with the power of articulation. That's not wishful thinking. That's spiritual architecture. You were not designed to be a prisoner of silence. You were created to be a speaker of worlds. And when you use that gift to echo pain, you empower your past. But when you use it to echo possibility, you unleash your calling. Because nothing shifts until your language does. Nothing grows until your narrative evolves. And nothing manifests until it's declared with intention. Words are not cheap. They are not throwaway. They are contracts. Every sentence you speak is a signature on the life you're building. And most people never see change because they keep signing agreements with limitation. They keep repeating inherited curses like they're compliments. They keep whispering doubt into rooms meant for destiny. But you are different. You've seen too much to speak small. You've survived too much to stay quiet. You've dreamed too deeply to reduce your voice to survival tones. Now is the time to start speaking as if you already know you're chosen, as if you already know the promise wasn't a mistake, as if you already believe your story is being written in gold. And no, not everyone will understand you. Some people will say you're arrogant. Others will think you've lost your mind. But you don't owe them understanding. You owe your future obedience. You owe your calling value. You owe your purpose your full participation. And that includes your tongue. You don't tame fire by whispering, and you don't build greatness by mumbling. So speak with audacity. Speak with imagination. Speak as if heaven itself is leaning in, because it is. Speak as if your children's children will one day rise and say, "She spoke us into legacy. He spoke us into safety. They spoke us into greatness," because they will. Let your life become the proof that voice carries power beyond time. Speak like you're feeding generations, like your words are soil, and you're planting oak trees that will shade people you'll never meet. Speak like the healing you declare today will echo into communities you haven't even visited. Speak like your vocabulary is prophecy, like your tone is an inheritance, like your belief is contagious, and it is. There is someone watching you right now quietly, listening to what you say about yourself, not just in public, but in the in-between, in the unguarded moments. They are listening not to be impressed, but to find permission. They need to see someone like them speak with power so they can believe they can too. You are the voice someone's courage is waiting on. That's how influence works. Not always through microphones, platforms, or viral clips. Sometimes the most world-shaking thing you'll ever do is speak life over yourself in a room where nobody clapped and still mean it, still believe it, still live like it's true. You were never meant to wait for validation. You were born to activate the atmosphere. So say it again, with more clarity, more strength, more ownership. Say it like you finally realized how expensive your silence was. Say it like every word costs gold, because it does. Say it like your soul depends on it, because it does. Say it until doubt breaks apart like glass. Say it until insecurity forgets your name. Say it until you remember who you've always been, because underneath all the noise, the distractions, the setbacks, the labels, there's a voice inside you that still knows, a voice that still believes, a voice that still carries the blueprint of your original design. And every time you speak life, you turn up the volume on that voice. You turn down the voices that lied, the ones that said you were too late, too damaged, too much, not enough. All of them dissolve in the presence of your truth. There's no negotiation with destiny. There's no casual path to greatness. You either speak with the fire of someone who's had enough of living small, or you stay quiet and call it realism. But don't you dare confuse silence with humility. There's nothing humble about denying your gift, nothing noble about ignoring your impact. Speak let, not for applause, but for alignment. Speak until your spine straightens. Speak until your chest opens. Speak until your thoughts become sharper than your pain. Speak until the future turns toward your voice and recognizes its cue, because it's waiting, not for your talent, not for your resume, not for your bank account, but for your language, for your decision to become your own oracle, your own announcer, your own light switch, to stop looking for external permission to go where your soul already knows it belongs. Your words are the passport, your belief is the currency, and your destiny is the gate waiting to be opened. So unlock it.